Hello everyone. I never thought I would be telling you this, but my life just turned into a horror movie, and I just had to say it. This story is not short, so buckle up. It's about betrayal, revenge, and how the person you trust the most can be the one who stabs you in the back. For context, let's call my husband Mark and my ex-best friend Chloe. Mark and I have been married for 7 years. We've had our ups and downs, like any couple, but overall I thought we were strong. We built a beautiful life together. Chloe was my person. We'd been friends since college, going through tough breakups, career changes, everything. She was the kind of friend you'd call at 3 a.m. without a second thought. She was always so sweet, always there for coffee or a word of encouragement. She was practically family. She had her own key to our house and came over for dinner at least twice a week. The problem started quietly. Mark became withdrawn. He spent more time on his phone, but he always had his screen turned away. He would start work later and his explanations seemed a little too rehearsed. I'm not a naturally jealous person, so I brushed it off as work stress. I even confessed to Chloe about it and she was very supportive. She told me, all men go through phases, just give him space, he loves you. She was so convincing. Looking back, I realized that all the signs were there, I just looked at the wrong person. So, for a few weeks, I tried to take Chloe's advice. I gave Mark his space, focused on my own projects, but the weird vibe just wouldn't shake. He'd get texts and a tiny, almost secretive smile would flicker on his face before he'd put the phone down. He never used to do that. His texts with me were usually about what to get for groceries or when he'd be home. The real first crack appeared on a random Tuesday. We were supposed to have a date night, just a casual thing, but he canceled last minute, saying a project at work had blown up and he had to stay late to put out the fire. I was disappointed, but hey, it happens. I decided to be a good wife and bring him some dinner at the office. I showed up with his favorite takeout, but his office was dark and locked. I called his cell. It went straight to voicemail. My heart did this little sinking thing, but my brain was still making excuses for him. Maybe he's in the server room? Maybe his phone died? I was standing there in the empty hallway, holding a bag of getting colder Thai food, feeling really, really silly. Then I got a text from Chloe. It said, "Hey. Just thinking about you. Everything okay? You seemed a little off last time we talked." It was so perfectly timed, so sympathetic, that it actually made me feel better. I texted her back, thanks. Just a failed mission to bring Mark dinner at work. His loss, more drunken noodles for me. Her reply was instant, poor you. His loss indeed. Want me to come over and help you eat it? I could use a girls' night. In that moment, I felt so grateful for her. I almost took her up on it. But I was just tired and told her I was gonna have a bath and crash. She sent back a bunch of heart emojis. She was being the perfect friend. And the whole time, she knew exactly where he was. She was probably texting me from right next to him. The sheer audacity of it still makes me feel sick. After the weird office incident, a cold little knot of doubt started to form in my stomach. I still wasn't ready to accuse Mark of anything big, but I was observant. I started noticing little things about Chloe, too. She'd mentioned seeing a movie I knew she had no interest in, or she'd referenced some new restaurant that had just opened, details she couldn't have known unless someone told her. Again, my brain wrote it off. She's your best friend, of course you talk about things. The real glimmer of evidence came about a week later. Mark was in the shower and his Apple Watch was charging on the nightstand. It lit up with a notification. Normally I'd never look, but it was just right there. The preview on the screen read, "Can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible." My blood ran cold. It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. The sender's name wasn't saved as a contact, just a phone number. But I recognized the area code. It was the same as Chloe's childhood home number, the one she'd had forever and never changed. I heard the shower turn off. I quickly put the watch down, my hands shaking. I felt like I was going to be sick. This couldn't be real. Not Chloe. It had to be a mistake. Maybe it was a wrong number? Maybe it was from a client and he was just being nice? I was spiraling, trying to find any other explanation because the real one was too horrible to face. I spent the next 24 hours in a complete daze. I was moving through my life like a ghost, watching myself pretend everything was normal. Every time Mark smiled at me, I saw a liar. Every time Chloe texted me a heart emoji, I felt physically ill. I had to know for sure. I couldn't confront him with just a text preview from a number he could explain away. I needed more. So, I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our phone bill online. I went through the detailed call and text logs for his number. And there it was. In stark, undeniable black and white. Hundreds of texts. Hours of phone calls, often late at night when he was supposedly working late or when I was asleep. The vast majority were with that one number, the one from his watch. The one linked to Chloe. The timeline was a knife to the heart. There were texts on my birthday. Calls on our anniversary weekend when he'd stepped out to take a work emergency. It was all a lie. The entire foundation of my marriage and my longest friendship was completely rotten. The sweet, kind, inconspicuous friend I thought I knew was a complete stranger, a masterful liar who had been playing me for a fool for months. I was heartbroken, but a weird, cold calm settled over me. The initial shock was replaced by a steely resolve. I needed undeniable proof, not just for me, but for what I was already starting to plan. I needed to hear her lie to my face one more time, to confirm the depths of her deceit. I called Chloe. My voice was surprisingly steady. "Hey, can you come over? Mark is working late again, and I'm just feeling really down about it. I think he might be hiding something." She was at my door in under an hour with a bottle of wine and a concerned frown. "Oh, honey," she said, pulling me into a hug. I had to force myself not to stiffen. "I'm so sorry. What's going on?" We sat on the couch and I laid it on thick. I cried, real tears, born of real pain and anger. I told her I was scared he was cheating. I told her I felt so alone. And she played her part perfectly. She held my hand, her face a mask of sympathy. "No, he would never do that to you," she said, her voice dripping with fake conviction. "You're imagining things. He's just stressed. He loves you so much." She even suggested things we could do as a couple to reconnect, all while secretly seeing him behind my back. It was the most masterful performance I'd ever seen. And it was all the confirmation I needed. The kindness was a weapon. The sympathy was a lie. My best friend was a monster. I couldn't hold it in anymore. The performance with Chloe had drained me, and the fury was boiling over. When Mark got home that night, acting all normal, I just snapped. I didn't yell. My voice was scarily quiet. I held up my phone with the phone bill pulled up. "I know," I said. "I know about the texts. I know about the calls. And I know it's Chloe." The color drained from his face. He started with the denials, the sputtering. What are you talking about? That's just a client." "Don't," I cut him off. "The number is registered to her mom's house. The area code. The hundreds of texts. The calls on our anniversary. Stop lying to me. Just for 1 minute, have the decency to stop lying." He crumpled. He sank onto the couch and put his head in his hands. He confessed. It had been going on for 6 months. It started as emotional support because he felt we were drifting apart, classic, right? And then it became physical. He cried. He said he was sorry, that it was a mistake, that he loved me. All I felt was numb. His tears seemed pathetic. The apology was too little, way too late. The man I loved was gone, replaced by this weak, deceitful stranger. I didn't say I forgave him. I didn't say anything. I just turned, walked into the guest bedroom, and locked the door. The planning phase had officially begun. Locking that guest bedroom door was like shutting a vault on my old life. The numbness wore off fast, and then it hit me, a tidal wave of pure, unfiltered grief. I wasn't just losing my husband, I was losing the two people who were the pillars of my world. I cried so hard I couldn't breathe. It was this ugly, gasping, can't catch your air kind of crying. The anger was there, a hot, sharp thing, but it was drowned out by this profound sadness. I felt so stupid. How did I not see it? All the little jokes they must have shared at my expense. All the time she comforted me, knowing she was the cause. The humiliation was almost worse than the betrayal. I didn't sleep. I just lay on that bed, cycling through memories, now tainted and poisonous. Our wedding day, with Chloe as my maid of honor. Mark's face when he saw me walk down the aisle. Our last vacation, where Chloe had called us couple goals. It was all a sick joke. I felt like my entire history had been rewritten into a lie, and I was the last one to know. I was drowning in it. I must have fallen asleep from pure exhaustion because I woke up with the sun streaming through the blinds. My eyes were swollen, my head pounded, but my mind was terrifyingly clear. The sadness was still there, a heavy weight in my chest, but it had been joined by something else, a cold, focused rage. The tears were done. Crying was for the victim, and I was done feeling like a victim. They hadn't just hurt me, they had disrespected me, they had manipulated me, and they had thought they could get away with it. Mark's pathetic apology wasn't about me, it was about him easing his own guilt. Chloe's performance was about protecting her secret. I got out of bed, took a shower, and looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the person staring back for a second. There was a hardness in my eyes I'd never seen before. This wasn't about winning him back. That ship had sailed and burned. This was about balance. This was about making sure they both understood the cost of what they had done. Revenge wasn't about violence or screaming matches. It was about intelligence. It was about patience. And most of all, it was about making sure the punishment fit the crime perfectly. I needed to be smarter than them. And for the first time I knew that I was. Okay, revenge might sound dramatic, but I wasn't going to do anything illegal or get myself in trouble. I wanted it to be elegant. A lesson. And for that, I needed more than just phone records. I needed a way to expose the truth to everyone in their lives, to shatter the perfect images they both worked so hard to maintain. My first move was Mark. I told him I would consider trying to work on things, but only under one condition: total transparency. I needed to see everything. All their messages. I told him it was the only way I could even begin to process what happened. He was so desperate to appease his own guilt that he agreed immediately. He gave me the passwords to a secret email account and a messaging app they used. It was like opening a treasure chest of betrayal. I didn't read it all at once, it was too painful. I just focused on downloading and saving everything. I needed the receipts. The messages were worse than I imagined. They talked about me. They made fun of me. She called me naive and clingy. He complained about things I thought were our private jokes. They planned their meetups, often using my own schedule against me. She's at her yoga class until 7, come over then. Every word was another twist of the knife, but I saved it all. This was my ammunition. With all the evidence secured, it was time for phase 2. I needed to create a scenario where their lies would unravel in public, in a way they couldn't talk their way out of. I needed an audience. I decided to throw a party. A happy couple barbecue for our friends and family, to show everyone that Mark and I were stronger than ever. I even asked Mark to invite Chloe, telling him I wanted to show there were no hard feelings and that I was trying to forgive and move forward. He was suspicious but went along with it, probably hoping it would get him out of the doghouse. I was sweetness and light. I greeted Chloe at the door with a hug. I complimented her. I played the happy, forgiving wife so well I should have won an Oscar. I could see the relief on both their faces. They thought they'd gotten away with it. They thought I was the fool they always believed me to be. The stage was set. Our backyard was full of our closest friends, our families, even a few neighbors. Everyone was laughing, eating, having a good time. They had no idea they were about to be the audience for the main event. The moment arrived. I had set up a slideshow of happy couple photos on the TV in the living room, something cute for everyone to look at. People were milling around, plates of food in hand. I raised my voice just enough to get everyone's attention. "Hey, everyone! Thank you so much for coming. It means the world to Mark and me to have all our favorite people here." I smiled warmly at Mark and Chloe, who were standing near each other, looking pleased. "I put together a little something to show how grateful I am for our wonderful life together," I continued, clicking the remote. So many great memories. The first few slides were normal. Wedding photos, vacations. People were smiling, making sounds. Then, I clicked to the next slide. It wasn't a photo. It was a screenshot of a text message exchange between Mark and Chloe's number. A particularly damning one where they were planning a rendezvous and mocking me. The text was huge on the screen for everyone to read. The room went dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. For a second, nobody moved. They were all just staring at the screen, trying to process what they were reading. I saw the smiles freeze on their faces, replaced by confusion and then dawning horror. I clicked again. Another text. This one was from Chloe, talking about how easy it was to fool me. I didn't say a word. I just let the evidence speak for itself. I clicked through a few more of the most blatant, most humiliating messages. The air in the room was thick with shock. Then, chaos erupted. Someone gasped. Mark yelled, "What are you doing?" and lunged for the remote, but my brother, who had caught on instantly, stepped in his way. Chloe's face was sheet white, pure panic. She started stammering, "It's not what it looks like. She's photoshopping these. She's crazy." But the proof was right there, in their own words, with their phone numbers visible. The damage was done. Their perfect lies were evaporating in front of everyone they cared about. The looks on their faces, the sheer, utter shame, was everything. The party broke up fast after that. It was a blur of mumbled apologies, awkward goodbyes, and people practically running for the door to get away from the nuclear fallout. My family stayed, forming a protective circle around me. Mark was just standing in the corner, looking shell-shocked. Chloe had fled almost immediately, not making eye contact with anyone. Once everyone was gone, I turned to Mark. The act was over. The sweet wife was gone. "I want you out by the end of the week," I said, my voice completely flat. "You can stay in the guest room until then. My lawyer will be in touch." He didn't even try to argue. He just nodded, his shoulders slumped in defeat. He looked small. The consequences of his actions were no longer just my tears behind a closed door, they were real. His reputation was in tatters, his marriage was over, and he had to face everyone knowing what he'd done. As for Chloe, I didn't need to say another word to her. Her social circle, the one we largely shared, had witnessed everything. The text specifically showed her manipulations and her cruelty towards me. The kind, inconspicuous friend was exposed as a cunning, two-faced liar. The revenge wasn't about hurting her physically, it was about revealing her true character to the world. And that was a far more lasting consequence. In the weeks that followed, the initial high of the revenge faded, and I was left with the quiet reality of picking up the pieces. There were still bad days, moments of sadness and anger. But there was also a powerful sense of closure. I hadn't internalized their betrayal as my failure. I had exposed it as their character flaw. I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I am far stronger and more resilient than I ever gave myself credit for. I learned that my intuition was right all along, I just didn't want to believe it. Most importantly, I learned that some people are master manipulators, and they often hide in the guise of your closest supporters. The revenge wasn't really about them in the end. It was about taking back control. It was about refusing to be their secret. By exposing the truth publicly, I took away their power to control the narrative. I wasn't the poor, clueless wife they could pity and gossip about. I was the one who held the cards, and I showed my hand on my own terms. So, if you're going through something even remotely similar, here's what I want you to take away from my mess of a story. First, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let anyone, especially a friend, gaslight you into thinking you're crazy for being suspicious. Second, get your evidence. In a situation this devastating, you need cold, hard proof, both for your own sanity and for any legal or practical steps that come next. It protects you. Third, and this is the most important one, your revenge doesn't have to be malicious to be effective. The best revenge is living well, yes, but it's also about exposing the truth. It's about refusing to be a silent victim. Their actions are a reflection of them, not you. Protect your peace. Surround yourself with people who genuinely love and support you. It's a long road, but you will get through it. You will be okay. And you will come out the other side stronger, smarter, and with a zero-tolerance policy for toxicity. Thanks for listening. It felt good to finally tell the whole story.